was I used to work in the marketing department.
Oh, okay.
So I worked with like Ned and like Tim. Oh gosh. Can you talk questions like over 3 years?
Okay. Yeah, really long. Yeah.
I ended up moving to opposite side of the country. Yeah. And then I came back. Yeah, oh my gosh. For earrings. So
I'm a former practicing attorney in the tech space, and now I have my own business as a recruiter for lawyers. And I work with a ton of startups, but most of my work is out of California. So when companies need like their first lawyer, I do a lot of that for early stage, or any attorney, and I work with law firms as well. But yeah, most of my work is out of California, but I ended up here now, so I feel like I was telling her, I'm like, I realized I'm just in my office alone, and I'm like, wait, there's stuff happening in Las Vegas too. So,
cool.
yeah.
I'll have to get you more involved. We do a bunch of community stuff, so
Oh, awesome.
a lot. Yeah.
Great.
What do you?
So I'm in real estate, and I just started my company with supplemental health insurance. We pay cash benefits. If you never have to use it, you get all your money back. Hopefully you never have to, but if you need to, it's there.
I'm the new community manager for Startup Vegas.
Wait, good surprise.
Sorry, my name's Heather. I work in economic development. So I work for the local economic development agency, and I actually founded this nonprofit.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I'm Tara. I'm kind of switching careers again. I was doing makeup artistry for a while, but I'm going to have two businesses I'm starting up soon. One in the tech space, one in the art space, like art tech. So that's what I'm here.
Cool.
I'm Veronica. I'm a ghostwriter, content creator. So when people don't want to do it, I do it for them.
That's awesome.
Love that.
I'm Scott. I'm here with my wife Gina. So, I'm an agent. I'm pretty sure she'll fill you in on the rest.
I'm Frank. I'm an operations manager currently. I'm going through a little bit of a career change myself. Prior, I had worked in sports, but it was always my long-term goal to break into the tech space. So,
Hello, my name is Alan. I'm the assistant community manager here at Startup Vegas. I previously just graduated in May from UNLV with a marketing degree. And through Heather and some amazing classmates of mine, I was able to get this job. And now I'm here just absorbing all the knowledge that I can, especially since being so young and everyone's kind of like in their early stages. It's really cool to see how businesses start up. So I'm here, so thank you. All right, do you guys want to start now?
Yeah, we can start now. We can offer some intros to start as we're doing round circle. I'll go
Yeah.
next. Hi everyone, my name is Linda Yonemoto. I am currently an entrepreneur, part-time consultant, and soon-to-be financial literacy educator. I have a background in marketing and advertising for 14 plus years for companies like Zappos, LL Bean, working at 2 different agencies as well as fintech. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, I'm Gina. I don't know how to explain what I do because it's crazy. So I worked at Zappos for 7 years, and after that I decided to quit because I just felt it wasn't serving my purpose anymore. So I felt a call to do a lot of real estate investing, which is what we do. And my husband and I, he's a nurse, and we decided to open up a memory care home. We did it from the ground up, and we served the senior community for 5 years. And we got an all-cash offer we couldn't refuse, so we decided to sell the company. We 4x'd our ROI, and then that helped funded us to not work for a bit. I also helped an investor grow and scale his portfolio from 1 to 17 doors. All mixed-use furnished rentals, and then we now got our real estate license last year just because it was a need for us because we're already in the space. I was giving away that commission, and I was like, "What am I doing?" You know. So, yeah, we got our licenses, and now I help investors scale their portfolio. Yeah. So.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions to start off? No questions. I think that after hearing your backstory, Gina, I think I would really like to know about the LLC question and how you can start that. What's the importance of it? What are the benefits of it?
Yeah.
Especially someone that's like, what's an LLC?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Having an LLC is definitely important because you're going to want to protect your assets and your financials, especially yourself, because it's considered an entity. The IRS looks at an LLC as its own person. And it's definitely beneficial because then you could save on taxes as well. It depends on I would definitely recommend to talk to your CPA or tax preparer, but they're able to help set you up in a way where you're able to get legally, you're protected. We have an estate planning attorney who helped us with our trust. So it's a trust, then we have our LLCs under it. So we're super fully protected just because we have a lot. I forgot to mention, I also have a homestead. So we turned that into a business. Got an LLC for that because of the tax benefits, because in agriculture, you actually get a lot of write-offs and tax benefits. And especially with real estate, that's why we got an LLC under our name as well. As a real estate agent, you huge tax savings as well. It's mainly, I would recommend getting an LLC with the state and then getting your business license through the whatever jurisdiction you're in. So you're saving on that as well. So it's just helping you learn about finances, and your tax preparer or CPA will be able to help you learn how to set it up correctly.
So I was researching this recently, and it's really easy in Nevada. Like there's a website that's all set up. They have like entire YouTube videos with Nevada Silver Flume. I'm sure Heather can speak to that. Some other folks in the room as well who have set up their own LLCs.
And I'll just add, like, our Secretary of State realizes that we have some red tape here. Yes, it's easy, you can do it all online, but there's just some things where you have to go to your local entities, then you have to do this, and if you have to change something, you have to pay at every level, which I understand, we are a no tax state, so you have fees. But I will say, Secretary Aguilar is actually revamping the whole thing to make it so much easier for everyone, where it's like a one-stop shop, and hopefully that will be out by next year.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then with your vast portfolio, how do you keep track of your different business expenses, especially since you have multiple businesses? Do you use like QuickBooks, or like is there a specific program that you can recommend for other people?
Yeah, so I built out an Excel spreadsheet where it helps me, I plug in all my finances for that month. I'll spend like an hour or two plugging in the finances, but also I hire that out. We have a bookkeeper that handles all that stuff for me, because finances, like that's not my jam to organize it all. So we just hire a bookkeeper. So she's been a blessing. So I'd highly recommend to do that.
What do you do? I have a bookkeeper, and I have my day job business and also stand-up comics, so I have all my comedy and travel expenses, and I'm like, I don't even know how to like get it to my bookkeeper in an organized way, like I'm not an accountant, but how do you get your bookkeeper the information so that she can organize it?
Through QuickBooks. So everything is like connected to your bank accounts and everything, so kind of she knows how to like organize that all.
So she can look at an expense and know which thing it goes to.
Mhm. And she's super affordable. I think she's like $1,200 a year. So highly recommend. I mean, it's been a blessing because my brain doesn't like organizing stuff. So yeah.
I heard someone phrase that, like, when you can afford to, like, you're buying back your time.
Exactly,
Like, if you
yeah.
can afford to do that and buy back your time to spend it in a way that is beneficial to you.
Yeah.
I think that was like really impactful.
Yeah, if you're making like $500, $1,000 an hour doing whatever you're doing and you hate doing X, go outsource it to someone else that would love doing it. And it's going to be a lot more affordable.
But with that, I would say, I would challenge yourself to have a working knowledge of it, because, I mean, we've all heard stories where people hire someone, they don't do it well. You're on the hook with IRS, not that person. Like, you can maybe get their license revoked, but maybe you owe the money, right?
Yeah.
So just have a working knowledge and like be able to ask good questions. I think that's the most important. Hire everyone, but ask good questions.
Definitely.
And then with your QuickBooks, it's like different cards per business, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we
That would make it a
organize
lot
everything.
easier.
Yeah, each business has its own, because we have literally like 7 LLCs, and each LLC has its own credit card and business account, and it just plugs into QuickBooks.
We're gonna need the name of your bookkeeper, by the way.
My bookkeeper does not want me that much. My
Oh,
bookkeeper
man.
gives me more work. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, and I would highly recommend, okay, so we have a tax preparer that helps us with tax saving strategies, and she's amazing because she helped us learn how to save on a bunch of our taxes, like, especially with real estate. That's why I tell everyone to invest in real estate, is because real estate allows you to have all these tax savings, and she helps us, I would just highly recommend her. Her name's Sonia, so if you guys need a tax preparer.
Yeah,
she's
my
amazing.
husband's in real estate too.
Yeah.
And so everything, we have like a card for each thing. So
Yeah.
it's just like, these expenses are always on this card, these expenses are on these cards. So like for the accountant, it's like very black and white.
Yeah.
Let's see, for someone who just graduated college, is now becoming an adult, who now has a full-time salary, how should I be managing my budget? I just paid off all my credit card debt that I've accumulated from college and living independently. But now I'm just, do you guys agree with the 50-30-20 rule?
For personal budgeting?
Yes,
I
personal
think
budgeting.
it's going to vary per person, because you'll have fixed expenses versus variable expenses, and then, of course, it's depending on your lifestyle. You want to live in Las Vegas. But I think at the bare minimum, depending if you're like what benefits are offered through your current job, to really maximize what's available there. So if you have like a 401k, get that matching. Depending on what your goals are for like achieving financial independence, freedom, you can like max out your 401k. You can look at like contributing to your Roth, and just really building up like your nest egg for what you want to do personally, or if you want to like build up like your business setup for emergency fund as well.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend like you paying everything off. And then I would hack your way through life. So that's what I do. That's my main strategy, is I hack my way through life. We first started off with a townhome that we bought, renovated it while we lived in it, sold it, made like 90 grand. And then we used that fund to buy another house, renovated that while we lived in it, hacked it, and then it's a rental now. And then we bought another house, now we hacked it, and we have a midterm rental on the side that pays for half of our mortgage. And then also we land hack, so we have, our neighbor pays us $300 a month just to use our land, and he pays us, it's passive, super passive. Even the midterm rental is super passive because they're here monthly. We clean it every month or whatever, however long they stay, but it's just, that's how we're able to fund our lifestyle, is by, I would recommend if you're like someone like you, just to make sure that you save that way, and then like either buy a house or rent a house, but then have roommates, so it helps pay for your lifestyle.
I will gladly admit that I tried to live below my means. I certainly made my mistakes when I was in my 20s. I'm an elderly millennial in my 30s now. And I think that's the best thing that you can do, to try not to keep up with the Joneses or your friends, and really to have establish some sound financial just habits that you can live with, and just know what your goals are. And you're young, so you can have a roommate, and that's okay. And then save up for your future. Time is on your side, and anything that you save and invest is only going to compound.
Anyone else have any questions? Welcome to the new ones.
I'd like to ask, no, you're good. I'd like to ask, because I think you just said the compound, I think that's the power of it, compounding interest and starting, it doesn't matter, you start young, absolutely, but start.
Yeah, you
Literally
don't have to
start.
dump a bunch of money in, but you're just establishing those sound habits that you'll build up over time as you grow your wealth, grow your income, and then maybe you'll get promoted one day within Startup Vegas. Yeah. And I think it's really, really hard nowadays, because and I say this coming from marketing and advertising, we're blasted with all these messages hey, you need the newest, hottest thing. You're like, really? Do you actually need that? And really realizing what do you need versus just what you want.
While talking about life, I'd love to hear more about your guys' experience going from advertising and marketing and making that pivotal moment where you want to change your careers and going into something that's more investment or finance and things like that. And how did you guys pivot mindset mentally, and then also just going through the physical of everything?
You wanna go first?
Yeah. So I want to share probably a little bit about my backstory. So I grew up like on welfare food stamps in Section 8, so I didn't have a lot. I literally slept on the floor with my mom. We shared a room for 8 years. So it kind of like morally, like my morale when I was younger, kind of like I felt like I was never deserving or never felt like I deserved to sit with the cooler people or the more successful people, you know? So it kind of carried on to me throughout my adulthood life. I never felt like I was worthy enough. But I had to switch my mindset because I was like, dang, I don't want to be a victim of my past and have my past define who I am because I didn't have a lot. So I started to listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of books, read books, you know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then Bigger Pockets, and then all these entrepreneur tech startups, even Tony Hsieh, like I fell in love with delivering happiness. And like seriously, it changed my life. Like literally that book changed my life. And I was like, I gotta work there. They're in Vegas, I gotta work there. So I ended up getting a job there, worked there for 7 years, and then worked my way up while I was working at Zappos. My husband, me and I, we started our real estate investing, and then also what else? Our memory care home that we had, and then we started just real estate investing and helping other investors grow their portfolios as well, and just sharing it, and then just mainly using what I learned from Zappos and turned it and like carried on to my next phase of my career. It's just being able to know that you are worthy, and like I always listen to like a lot of motivational stuff, especially like Mel Robbins or Les Brown, and just all those hype people, Tony Robbins and all that good stuff. It's because you need that little push to be able to help you get through life and know like you're good and you're worthy and you can do it all pretty much. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a tough act to follow. So similar to Gina, I grew up with very little. Like my parents fled Vietnam from communism to come to America. We lived in like a tiny, like 1-bedroom apartment. There were 5 of us. The only thing that I think I really took away from that experience is that you really have to count on yourself and what you're able to accomplish through like being able to learn, being willing to learn, and just a lot of hard work with like a little bit of luck thrown in. It helped me go through college. It gave me the confidence to move from California to here. So similar to some of you, I'm a transplant. And then it gave me the confidence to start over when I was like, 3 years after graduating into the aftermath of the recession. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna just put my foot out there, like get out there. And I ended up going to an event that they hosted for resume reviews. That's how I got my foot in the door to work at the Zappos family of companies. I did not have a marketing degree. I actually have a degree in social welfare. I had the big heart, and I really fell in love with the vision of the company. And I think that's what I carried with me the entire time as I was pivoting careers and pivoting companies and bosses. Took me from like Las Vegas to Maine, back here, worked for a New York advertising agency, worked for fintech, just kind of like putting yourself out there. I think what's really important is that during that time, as you're gaining that experience and you're connecting with other folks in your community, you're making space for them, you're making those connections like we're all doing today, but you're also establishing like a really strong brand presence online so that people can find you, and then you draw in what you put out.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that too, is with the brand presence is, sharing your journey on social media, because it's a huge way you're able to get clients, because that's how I'm able to get some of my clients. And we have a homestead, and I barter eggs and sell eggs, and then also I'm fully licensed and all that good stuff. And we also have a mini cow, so we do cow cuddles with the community. And
I'm sorry, what did you say? You have a cow what?
I have a cow.
No, you do cow what was it?
Oh, cow cuddles.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, it's a thing. So people love fluffy cows, so we got one of, because we started off with
See, I'm just gonna let that go.
there's so many things that we do. So like we have a lot of certified therapy dogs that we help with the community. So we go to hospitals, we go to schools, care homes, and all that good stuff with our dogs. We found so much joy in that we're like, and our house is zoned to have horses and cows and stuff. So we're like, let's get a cow for cow cuddles because it's a thing, you know. People actually like want to hang out with the cow, and so yeah, this coming weekend we're gonna bless a lady who's stage 4 cancer. Her dying wish is to meet a cow, so that's what we're gonna be able to do. And yeah, so someone else actually just flew in from New Orleans. He surprised his wife to meet Johnny Cash. Our cow's name is Johnny Cash. Yeah. So yeah, I would highly recommend to just like document your journey on whatever you're doing, whatever business venture you're in, because then people will see you from the ground up building that business, and they're going to be like, oh man, that's so cool, whatever you're doing, and you'll find your tribe. It's amazing.
I have a question. So I think social media obviously is such an important tool, but like, what other what's your tech stack look like? When you were building your company, I'm sure it was different than what you use today. Like, I know we're talking about QuickBooks, and you talked about having a CPA and that, but like, what other, do you use ChatGPT? How much do you use ChatGPT?
Yes.
Like, what other, Canva, like,
Uh-huh.
what other, what's your tech stack look like
Yeah.
for
So-
an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I use Canva, hands down, it's the best to make flyers. And then I also use AI I use, what is it, CapCut? CapCut is AI generated to help edit your videos, and it puts on the captions. And then I use ChatGPT to help me write out my the social media post, and then or whatever I have to talk about, or yeah. So I use all the tools, all the tech tools that I can, and I use Shopify for my website. It's one of the best out there, so I would highly recommend building out your website as well as your social media presence.
And the 3 out of the 4 that she just named are free. So you can
Yeah.
use the free version of Canva, you
Yeah.
can use free ChatGPT, and then what's the other one?
CapCut.
CapCut,
Yeah.
that's free.
And social media is free too. I highly recommend posting on all platforms. I had no idea you could get paid off of social media. So like I started posting my journey, and then like, here, like I'm getting my first $600 check from Facebook. I'm like, what? This is crazy. So yeah, highly recommend just keep posting, because you never know.
Mm-hmm. And then I'd like to piggyback off that. I definitely agree. Social media is a huge thing. I do a lot of the social media for Start Vegas, but also in just like personal life and helping out with friends and different organizations that I've been with at UNLV. You just create and just put it out there. You can only go up from zero. You know, that's the mindset that I have, especially with social media. Sure, like cancel culture is a thing, but you're not going to be canceled to the point where you have 1 million people to like zero. You know, someone will watch. There's so many people in the world. Someone will watch your thing, and they will follow you. They will follow and listen to your story. So that's my advice on social media.
Yeah, it feels cringe a little bit, like you're embarrassed, like, oh, like someone's going to judge me, like, no, like, if they love you, they're not gonna judge you, and if they judge you, they're probably not your target audience, and don't worry about
They
it.
judge you and comment, then they boost your algorithm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even if it's yeah, and you don't have to start like all at once, you can just start with one, and then go from there.
Yeah, and I would say, yeah, post the cringe content. And you don't have to be super niche down, because like everyone says that you should niche down, but I post about chickens, I post about a cow, I post about real estate, I post about my husband or kids, so it's a mix of everything. So people get to know you.
Does anyone have any questions or would like to hear or talk about their own personal story?
I think we have new people who.
Yeah, if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Cassandra. I am a loan officer. I'm a mortgage mama. And I'm licensed here in Nevada and also in California. So I work a little bit of both markets. And I need help with my social media. So.
non-guarantor business funding, but I do personal guarantor business funding.
Thanks. Anybody needs money? What I need. Hi, I'm Amy. I do marketing consulting on my own, and I also work with an agency, and we do a lot of small businesses and founders to help with their social media. And I do a lot of thought leadership and all that. So looking for some specifically more, so I'm more focused on LinkedIn. But the agency I work for does like full scale social media, so.
There you go.
That's awesome. Well, do you have any specific questions now that we're on the topic of social media?
I don't think so. I think mine is more like a confidence thing, like doing video and like not feeling like I sound or look stupid.
It's practice. I promise you, I hated hearing my voice on video. Now I can at least get through the editing part. I will not rewatch my own content, but I will 100% I can edit now, which was a huge step for me. And you just have to go on a timeline and do a content calendar in your head. Just force yourself like, hey, I'm gonna get this done. And then keep on pushing yourself towards it, because if you don't take a step, there's gonna be no action. You know, you have to, and then just go from random quotes. Like a quote from Nicki Minaj would be like, they can only hate on you once you have made it.
Right.
You know?
And I piggyback as far as like social media, I wouldn't say so much as the content timeline. That's a bit advanced for somebody that's not really digging it. But if you push yourself to, I'll post twice this week. You don't have to say it twice a day. Twice, I'll put 2 posts up this week, because people have found me for stuff I posted years ago, and then they're blowing my phone. I'm like, where did you get this information from? So put it out there and let it work past it for you while you're still building up your confidence. Like just get it knocked out. Like you have it.
I also, like I have to post my stand-up clips, and I hate, like I'll watch it and I'm like, no, I should have used this word, I should have done this, and I hire someone to go through my sets, and I just post what I'm sent, and stuff where I am like, it's not even done, I don't like this, will be the one that does well. And so I just took that choice away from myself because I couldn't do it and I didn't want to do it. So it's not really that expensive to have someone just go through and they can decide. I think there's also an AI program that can go through and pull highlights as well. So you don't have to be the one looking at yourself and making that decision, because that was what was holding me up from doing anything.
And if that sounds scary and you just want to like dip your toes in the water, you can go find people in your community that you want to connect with, and you can comment and engage on their posts. And
Yes.
people will see you, and you'll gain visibility that way. And that's just like a stepping stone to like move on to the next step and the next step till you feel ready and get more comfortable.
And then content doesn't have to necessarily just be like video or photo. It could be anything, writing, commenting, a blog post on LinkedIn, you know, just posting a picture of simply yourself in a selfie, that's content, you know? So don't worry about what you put out there. As long as you feel comfortable putting it out there, just put it out. And then also we have actually a sponsor called RiseUp, and it's super great. We personally use it. It's an AI editing software. We just upload all of our pictures and all of our videos, even if it's like a 3-hour stream. They'll go through it. And all you have to do is just send them a document of a creative direction, and it could be like, hey, like I want yellow captions. That's it. That's their creative direction. They will make a whole entire video of it. They can make like 60-second clips, 30-second clips, 90 for as long as like 10 minutes, I think.
Lucy Hub?
Yeah, Lucy. Mm-hmm. They're an AI software that's like based here in Vegas too. It's Lucy Hub. So LUCI. HUB. It's really, really good.
All right, Alan, spill. What else is in your tech stack?
Let's see. I love using Canva. Thankfully, I have Canva Premium. Thank you. I use CapCut personally. I love, this is more advanced, but I do use Lightroom and Photoshop. But I have a free subscription because my best friend goes to UCLA. We personally don't get it at UNLV, but I just log in through her. Instagram, I use like Layout, which is like, it'll create like carousels for you if you want. I think that's pretty much it. And then of course, ChatGPT is also in my Layout now, tech stack. that's pretty much it. And then I will do my own research on like different background music. Epidemic is one, but that's a paid one. A lot of different fonts are out there. Just make sure that they're commercially usable so that you don't get copyrighted or anything like that. That's all my stuff that I have for marketing. But Canva is definitely one of them. CapCut for sure too. Does anyone else have a cool program that they'd like to share?
I really like Notion. It's great
Oh,
for
yes.
planning out your content and it's free.
Love Notion.
Yeah.
Notion has so many templates. It's also like kind of like, if you guys aren't familiar with Notion, it's kind of like a Google Docs. It's online, it's free, you can use it with other people. We personally are gonna start switching it as kind of like our PM software. So we're gonna be assigning different tasks to our different team members at Startup Vegas. You can decorate it and use whatever font that you want. You can insert a GIF. You can have different icons. It's super customizable, and that's why it's really great. You can make it really personable. You can add like different widgets, which is really cool. It could get very advanced.
Is it a project management system now?
No, it's kind of like it's a little bit of a project management system. If you want it to be, it connects with your Google Drive. It connects
I
with
just
like
hear so many different things and I'm like, I can't keep track of it.
yeah, Notion is a lot.
It can be your
it's just-
website, you just set it up to be your
You can set
website.
up a website on there. It's very flexible in what it could be. In college, I used it as my calendar and different tasks. You can do like to do stuff. It's like a more advanced Google Docs, in my opinion, for what I use it for. But it could be different things.
Yeah.
And you can, I mean, I just started using it and I did a coaching program where you like really flesh out like 4 tracks of goals for a year and you break it down and it had these worksheets that broke down to like weekly and daily, but it gave it to me as like PDFs that were only on, it was like it wasn't like very tech forward and then it's not on my phone and then it didn't sync with my calendar. And so in Notion, I was able to like set up all these pages that then link to the next thing and ends up as like my daily task list, but it all is connected back to like whatever my larger goal is. And then I can have it on my phone down to like my grocery list or whatever in terms of like getting stuff done. But I will say it took me like an insane amount of time to get it set up.
There's automations, but the community in Notion is very
There's
expansive.
so many videos, like
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, there'll be a video. And like you can buy templates, but I wanted it to work exactly how I need to like use the information. So I wanted to set it up myself, which was maybe a mistake, but
Yeah,
there's
if you don't
every
want
kind
to-
of.
Yeah, there's templates that are.
I mean, it works.
Understand.
It works,
Yeah.
but like my boyfriend was like, I think you put in like 2 full 10-hour days this weekend. I'm like, oh, you don't even know what I've done.
That's just what you know.
I'm like, I have been very consumed setting this up.
It's fun. You can get very.
It's very addictive.
Yeah, it's like almost like The Sims, you know, when you're like in like character creation mode, and it's like 4 hours long, and you're like, dang, I spent all this time on this.
I
The
have
network is
some
large.
track, I'm intimidated, I think don't, I don't know. why.
I think like if
You
you're
can also
you're
keep
at
it
the-
simple. I just like went down.
I think if you're at the agency, you're like working on something like Asana and that works just perfectly fine. Like don't switch. Don't feel like you need to switch. But if you
Well,
want to
that's
like
project
test it
management.
out, yeah.
Yeah, I had a very real issue where I was like, I need what I've like this format that I've gotten used to on these like old school PDFs to function as like an ongoing changing like calendar and to-do list for me. And so I had to like go in and do it because I didn't have a system that was working.
Here's my Notion page that I had from like college. But it's very simple. Like I can have like pinned things. It's kind of like a Google Drive where you can have like your to-do list. I track all my different workouts. I will have personal things like things to remember. I'm like the maid of honor for my best friend and she's getting married soon, so I created a page for that. And everything can be on a home page. It's like a Google Docs, Google Drive. It doesn't have to be a project management software. Don't be intimidated. I definitely think you should try it out.
And you can schedule content, kind of like a Hootsuite.
No,
and stuff
so I'll be honest, yeah, you can't, it won't post content for you, it's not that type of thing, it's more like a personal tracker.
I thought you guys.
If you want to
mentioned
like
that
post content, you can use something like Sprout Social, like Buffer, or those other programs.
Gotcha.
I do need to invest in one of those, because right now, I usually just post on LinkedIn, and you can just schedule them within LinkedIn. But if you wanted something across platforms, what are the two that you just named?
Like Sprout, Buffer, there's like a bunch of other.
Hootsuite, I think
I used
Hootsuite.
to use Hootsuite,
Uh-huh.
but I use
It's
Twitter.
expensive now, I heard.
I love the CEO, like posts, like her strategy of posting is amazing. Like I don't use it, but I just like follow her. So if you want to follow someone, you can like look her up.
I personally use YouTube for a lot of stuff. If I have questions,
Yeah,
somebody made a video on it.
or TikTok now.
Oh, yeah. There's
Oh, yeah.
There's a video for everything.
I don't like to admit it, but I also love it.
Does anyone else use TikTok more of like a searching software, like a search engine?
Some people do, yeah.
Because
I
I do
use
now.
it.
I deleted it, and then that was the time during the ban, and I never got it back. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to California again. What places should I go eat?
Yeah.
And then I look up on Instagram, and I'm like, well, I'm not seeing the things I want. And now I'm like, I miss TikTok. I'm like,
You can
hand
get
me
it
your
back.
phone.
You can get it back now.
Yeah, I got it
Yeah.
back, and now I only use it as a search engine because I personally prefer long form content, and I miss being able to binge shows and feel emotions that's not almost dumbing me down. You know, I mean, obviously that's whatever your For You page is.
Yeah.
But I don't like seeing clips of shows. I'd rather just watch the whole thing.
I was at a conference right before the ban, right? And one of our tasks was split into groups. We had to come up with a 30-second minute long video, right? And edit it on CapCut. And right before the deadline, the ban happened, nobody was able to edit it. It was supposed to be
Oh, yeah,
like-
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah,
Down too, right?
Uh-huh.
yeah, they're affiliated.
They are. If you want to get more advanced, I mean, obviously that was a task for your team, but if anyone wanted to use something more personal, DaVinci Resolve is another great editing software, and it's free, completely free, and it has like color correcting, like you can color grade on there, you can do all types of different things, cut, split, add different fonts, anything that CapCut can do. It's like Adobe Premiere Pro, but free. So DaVinci Resolve.
And if you guys have a Mac, we recommend iMovie. It's super easy to edit.
Not on the phone.
Oh, yeah, not on the phone, yeah, yeah. I love CapCut for the phone.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any personal questions that they need like experience on or observations that Linda and Gina might have for you guys? Most of this is finance.
What did you say? Also what?
Most of the page is finance stuff, but if you guys want to split
Okay.
afterwards. Mhm.
I would say like, as an entrepreneur who maybe is coming from a startup or a corporate or their own thing, but wanting to start something new, would you recommend being 100% in the new or like weaning off your old life? Like what was your scale?
I would say, what is your risk tolerance and do you have an emergency fund? I think it's going to depend on each person. Personally, like I saved up for a whole year before I wanted to do what I'm doing now and like picking up clients if your job allows that on the side. Because it's hard to go from like zero, it's hard to go from like 100 to potentially zero in terms of like income. Because when you're making that step, I'm sure a lot of you feel this way, it's like, it's tough to make that jump without knowing you can pay the bills or you can pay off your credit card, you can put a roof over your head.
Yeah,
And then, oh, I'm sorry. What's that saving like? So you said you saved for a whole year, but what is it for? Is it going to be like if you were out of work for a whole entire year? Is it for rent, mortgage, or everything, including like what your
Everything
expenses are
that
now?
it, so I am on the conservative side, I am not risk averse. So I wanted to make sure I could pay for all of my living expenses and the business expenses.
There's that, just a woman I follow on social media that is a millennial finance expert, and she has a lot of good worksheets, and obviously everything's tailored to each person. And, you know, if you ever work with I have like a financial planner and they like really work with you to know your own risk tolerance and things like that. But this social media account, she has like a sheet for how to advise paying off debt and how to like what the interest rates are and what you want to do with saving and how you divide it. And she has like a lot of good free standard information out there.
I think at a bare minimum, adding to what you said, I think a lot of people need at least 6 months. Sometimes you do need a lot of runway.
Yeah.
Clients are not going to pay you right away. Some of them are on really crappy terms, let's be honest, where you're on like 30, 60. Some are asking for like 90 days at this point. And you know, your clients could drop you, they can like cut your contract, cut back your hours, like all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
People can be spending less depending on like what kind of business you're at. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, with me, I transitioned out slowly. It was hard to let go of Zappos because, you know, that's like the Disneyland of work, you know, and it's just, I just felt it was time, and then it wasn't serving, like I said earlier, it wasn't serving my purpose, so I knew I had to like jump the gun, and I did it, and it was like the best decision, but it did take about a good 2 years for me to really like build that momentum and start building my side hustle, start building out everything that what I'm learning, because Zappos teaches you how to be an entrepreneur, how to, you know, personal skills of being connecting with other people and stuff like that. So I used what I learned there and just transferred it over to my next phase of life, which is I did different types of work, you know, like change different career stops, but also just hacking. Like I always tell people, hack your way through life. So I hacked my way. So I wanted to be a real estate agent and then also an investor. So I went to those people's events like Lisa Songsun and Kathy Kuo. So they're huge in the real estate industry here in Las Vegas. So I would go to their events. I'd be the first one there, the last one there, and I would be like helping clean up, you know, and they saw notice of that. And then they were like, you know, get your license, and then like, boom. So now here I am, I'm like the co-director of investment strategies for their division. So I'm helping them now. And it's like crazy because, you know, I told you guys before, like I never thought I could have a seat at their table, you know, but it's because they saw my work ethic of just being someone who just goes to the events. So if you guys know anyone who you guys look up to, try to like go into their events and like show up, be seen, and that's how you're able to create those opportunities.
But if you're changing career, because I counsel a lot of lawyers on this, like I practice law. I was at a big firm where I saw I didn't want to live like that. All the partners were miserable. I was like, this isn't using like my strongest skills anyway, but just at any transition, there is like a huge buildup, and I still work within legal, and most legal recruiters have been attorneys, so I even stayed in the same space, but I had 2 years of savings to, because I work on commission now, and there's like a huge, you know, a delay in terms of getting paid, and I took the time to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and went to tons of events and went down different paths, but I had set myself up to be able to support myself during that time. I think some people are really impatient, and I thought it would take like 3 months to change careers, and I see a lot of people where they don't get what they want immediately within 2 months, and I'm like, if you're gonna really change careers and have it work for you financially, it's not a fast process, and you have to keep going and start with really basic things, like start with the networking, start by doing work that might be below your old job, and so if people have like set themselves up financially to plan for that time, they have better success making the transition than without a plan and accepting how long it can take to change careers.
Since
You're
we're
only a handshake away from anybody. It's a lesson I learned early on.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of like networking events, what kind of what other events do you like going to aside from the ones that Startup Vegas holds for RiseUp and more? And isn't there one tomorrow?
Yes, Link Up is tomorrow at WeWork Town Square. So that one is kind of like a co-working day. We have a lunch and learn from 12 to 1 with Steve Strebel. And he'll be talking about more finances too. I kind of wanted to do finances for the beginning of the year to set everyone up for success. But we will be there from 11 to 4. You just buzz into the door, and then we'll have a WeWork sign that's check-in. And same thing like this. It's kind of like a round table room, and everyone just sits and co-works with each other. You don't have to stay from 11 to 4. You can do just from 12 to 1 if you want, and then you can stay afterwards if you want to work on your own. But everyone kind of just mingles. That was definitely a more mingling thing instead of like a discussion thing. But yes, we do have Link Up tomorrow if you guys want to join.
And the Vegas Chamber has a lot of events, but like the woman who I work for who has her own agency, she's a member, you have to pay to be a member, it's not exactly cheap, and there are also some other paid things too, but they have a lot of events. But I actually want to know other ones if people know.
Meetup is a great
Yeah.
space. That's where we usually advertise all of our events. Visionaries Envy, if you guys are really into the tech space, we also have tech.alley. What are some other ones?
If you're into marketing specifically, there's Lavima, which is in town, and they're free if you work for an agency. You can just join.
We also have Female Founders Foundation, which I'm helping start that nonprofit. But pretty much it's my broker. She started it 3 years ago, and she invited a bunch of female founders in Las Vegas. And there's over 150 women in there. And we hold monthly events. So Fridays we'll have every other Friday or once a Friday, I forget. Once a month we'll have like a speaker, motivational speaker. So our last one we had, which was freaking amazing, it was Teresa Fetti. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she's a huge founder here. She built out her built it up to 3 million, or started at 3 million, but exited at 3 billion or something like that. And it was a tech company. I can't remember what it was, but she's also has another company that's like worth 25 million. And yeah, so we have like those kind of people in that group. They're in part of EO. I don't know if you guys know EO, and then YPO. So those people.
What is the EO?
EO, it's or Entrepreneurs Organization.
Okay.
Yeah. And so those are the type of people that are helping speak at Female Founders Foundation. So it's helping women in business try to scale up their businesses and stuff like that. So that's what the main goal is. And we hold a lot of events throughout the year. We have a Facebook page that we're starting up, and then we also have Ladies Leadership League, which is Staccato Las Vegas. We're partnering with them, and there's an Olympic shooter who is Lani. She's going to be helping women learning how to shoot guns, and it's a good networking event because you're learning from an Olympic shooter how to shoot a gun, and safety, it's about safety. So that's what our mission and vision is just holding events like that, different events. We're doing puppy yoga in April, so it's just little events like that we hold.
Are all these events, if I Google Female Founders Foundation, is that where?
It's femalefoundersfoundation.org, but we haven't fully worked on that website, but we do have a Facebook page that we will start posting more. But yeah, I would highly recommend.
How would you find them then? Female Founders Foundation.
Yeah,
Facebook?
yeah. So we have a page, we barely post in there, which we should, but it's mainly a group chat that we have. But I would love, so we're building it out to where we're in the startup phase right now, actually. So we're trying to build up the SOPs, the processes, the KPIs, and but there's 150 women, so we're all trying to we have a board meeting, and then we're working on getting all that set up because we just had our first board meeting last month, so we're.
So how would we find the monthly events?
So that would be, I'm gonna have our secretary work on the Facebook page. So I don't know if you guys see the Female Founders Facebook page. There's probably 5 people in there, but I'll have my secretary add all the stuff in there. But that's a good way to network because it's a bunch of female founders in the community from all types of industries. There's attorneys in there. There's.
Is there a way to get added to the chat or?
Yeah. I would love to link up with you after.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where we mainly do all that. So.
Question for the group, does anybody have any experience using Discord as a social media platform?
You want to say, I'm sorry.
I'm in a couple of them, but I just started using it, hardcore the past 6, 7 months. I'm part of the leadership committee of a group here, the Italian American Young Professionals Group. And they're in the process of setting up a server.
I'm on a couple groups, I'll be honest, I haven't muted so much.
Yeah.
So many thoughts, and they just put them all in the different things, so I personally, it's too much for me.
Yeah.
I would prioritize Slack. I'm in a couple of different Slack communities, just because I'm using that for my work, so I can switch over when I'm ready instead of like having to go to my phone and type through 400 feelings that people have. And,
Oh my God.
It's more engaging, I would say, than like your traditional social media, Facebook, X, stuff like that, but it's like a rabbit hole. It's hard, they
You
use
guys like on a
interface
group
and
chat with like a bunch of people and you can't keep up with the chat
Oh, yeah.
because you're working?
Oh.
That's what Discord is 24/7.
each channel is like a different topic.
It's the same as Slack. So Slack is
Yeah.
pretty much the same. I've never used Discord hardcore. But I will say that if it is for young professionals, I do recommend Slack since it kind of separates the distinction of gaming and a lot of people that are more, I wouldn't say unorganized, but I would separate that space, having Slack for professionals and then Discord for something that's a little less, more casual. Slack has pretty much the same thing. You have your different channels that you can set up, that you can archive. There's bots out there the same as Discord. Maybe not the same creators, but it's still relatively the same. We just implemented Now.io, which is a bot that does introductions. So when someone says something in our introductory, it'll lead them to like the different channels where they can find more information about startup ages.
Gotcha.
So I would separate personally Slack from Discord, especially if it's going to be for professionals.
Gotcha.
And
They're in
that
the
doesn't-
process. No, I was just gonna say, they're in the process of building it, but we might have to switch. So,
You set up, just like you would a company culture, you set up a group culture, right? So if your culture is word vomit and all your feelings and all the different things, well, then that's what you're gonna get. You'll get it on Slack or Discord. But I do think that the culture of Slack, given that it is a work platform, there is more of a professional, communicative, information sharing. I'm gonna think twice before I saw this meme, right? Like, there's probably a channel for memes. I'm not gonna put it in the, general thing. And so, but it all leads back to culture, right? Like, and I think you talked about books and stuff. Like, I just got done reading Ben Horowitz. You are what you, what's the name of the title? It's so good, and it talks about like company culture, and it just talks about how, not Google's what you do is who you are. It's a really good book. And he talks about how like his culture at his company was trying to mirror Apple, but Apple's culture was totally different than Amazon's. Both super successful, but like Amazon was making people work off of cardboard desks, and Apple was like, no, we care about the aesthetics and stuff, and then when you see them in the world, right, like that's what you get from them too. So I would just say if you're gonna start a business or you're gonna start a chat group with an organization, just establish a culture and want people to feel welcome, but also set parameters and, a community understanding of what it is.
makes sense completely.
I actually had a question for you guys about, because you talked about the 1031 exchange, taking the money from a house, rolling it into the next. What other tax codes have you found to be like the most beneficial and like cheat codes of having an LLC?
I didn't really touch up on 1031 exchanges because we haven't done it yet, but,
Well, you said that you bought a house
yeah.
and then
Oh,
made the
yeah,
money.
yeah.
That's 1031.
But, well, no, we didn't do 1031 because we lived in it for 2 years, so we were able to not have the capital gains, or get charged the capital gains. For tax saving strategies, there's a lot. I don't know, Scott can touch up on it more. He's more of the,
1031 is more for investment properties. So when you're selling And then there's like timelines you have to meet when you're doing that. So that's if you're doing investment properties. But
you said you had an LLC, and so I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
wondering
yeah.
what kind of tax codes you've been able to take advantage of.
Oh, yeah, I think it's section 179. I have to double check with my tax preparer. She's the one who like helps us like learn all these tax strategy savings or what to buy and what formation we are, because I don't remember, what are we, S corp or
now we're just
LLC.
LLCs.
I don't remember. Yeah, sorry.
If you're
But
an
when
S
you're-
corp, you don't have to pay the employment.
Yeah,
tax.
taxes, yeah.
LLCs are for like lower incomes. They say when you're making probably like a good amount, 70, 80, then you could do S corp depending on your business. So
But you should talk to your accountant, like,
Yeah, for sure.
technically an LLC, but I'm taxed as an S corp, and, like, I think it can get just complicated on what
Yeah.
makes sense for each business, each
Mhm.
person, and
Yeah.
why, yeah.
It's different, so it's hard to explain it, because coming from real estate, it's a different ballgame. What industry are you in again?
Well, maybe I asked my question
Okay.
poorly. I'm talking about like, for instance, I have an Amex, a platinum Amex, $695 a year for this card.
Wow.
But my LLC, it's a write-off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I opened it. It's, I can write off all my cards through my
Yeah.
LLC. That's
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
That kind of-
yeah.
That kind of hacks.
Yeah, so the tax strategies that we
I
do
love a
is
hack,
the hacking, yeah. So we do like, whenever we go on vacations, like we just went to Reno for business because I'm helping my aunt sell her home out there. So we went out there. I used my LLC credit card on that. We also have, I have a credit card that has miles and points, so I use that as a hack as well. So even with your business credit card, you can build up points, and then you can use it to fund your plane ride or your whatever you want to buy. Like I actually saved up a lot of points to buy my MacBook. So I did that, and helps me. And it's also just other stuff like that. You could write off business meetings, lunches, and all that good stuff. That's what our tax preparer says to do. Just make sure just make sure that
You're they changed it. I think it's like 60% of meals now. or
Yeah.
something, but yeah.
But yeah, just make sure you use the right credit card, because you don't want to commingle all your finances and stuff.
But even if you're posting on social media a lot, you can use it for stuff like haircuts and nails, whatever, and use it for your brand, you're doing your videos, all that. But just make sure you
Categorize
You also
it.
have to talk, like, I've had accountants tell me that I can't do that even for comedy, but every accountant
Yeah, that's
also
what I'm saying.
gives different, I've had accountants just straight up be like, no, we can't do that, so I don't.
Yeah, mine's really conservative. It
Yeah.
won't- Mine won't let me do that kind of stuff, but I'm okay with it because they give me other loopholes and stuff like that. Where, for instance, like I said, all my credit cards I open up and then I write off all the membership fees. I get the perks personally. I don't have to, attribute that. But then there's a rule called the Augusta rule, where each of your businesses can rent your home for 2 weeks, tax-free, and it's because the masters is 2 weeks long, they wanted to rent their homes, rich people got what they wanted, we all get to take advantage of it, but write that down, like, the Augusta rule is huge.
Yeah.
Now, it has to be based off of like a fair market value of your house, you can't say it's worth $5,000 a night when it's not worth $5,000 a night. Luckily, we live in Las Vegas, and depending on what time of the year you're renting it, right? But again, talk to your accountant. I don't even play one on TV. But it's things like that. It's like knowing these little hacks and like understanding, and it's so I didn't know if you had any more things that you found.
Yeah, so she also helps us, we rent an office out of our house, so that helps with tax savings as well. And then we're gonna add both of our kids as employees. That's also helpful too, because that saves about $12,000, I think, per kid. And
I think it's $14,600 a year for your kids. You can hire them as
yeah,
legitimate employees, and as
Yeah.
long as you hold board meetings
yeah,
and you,
Hold
this
the
can't just
minutes.
be chores and
Yeah.
stuff, right? They have to actually be something beneficial, but yeah. And then honestly, what you should then, well, I'm not your don't know, but if I was you, I would then take that money and invest it in a Roth for them. So then they're gonna be a millionaire by the time they're 18 and it's tax-free the entire time.
Yeah, my daughter does my CapCut. She's 12.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do
Very
it.
good.
Please, you're better at it than me.
I'll pay you.
Exactly. It's not free.
Good hack.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend getting, the first CAC is getting a good CPA or tax preparer who knows what they're doing. So,
How do you go about finding one?
we went through, I'm not gonna say the name, but it was a huge corporation that we did our taxes with. They messed up last minute, and then I just Googled tax people in Las Vegas and found one last minute who was amazing, and finding out that she does my friend's taxes and other people's taxes and all these people in real estate taxes, and then she also does influencers, so she knows those tax codes and cheat codes and all that. So yeah, her name's Sonia Taxes. So if you guys need one, just look her up. She's amazing.
SONIA
Yeah.
or YA?
IA.
Or J. I'm sorry.
We're gonna research her.
Yeah. Oh, and she said the way she blew up on Google, because her reviews are like all 5 stars, is because she started from the ground up with her business. She's been in business for over 15 years. She would go to all her neighbors, do flyers like the old school way, and she didn't even ask her clients to do reviews, but they just love her energy so much that they write reviews for her. So that's another way too, is building out your Google presence, because then you're able to have the reviews there, you know.
Well, we're heading into our last 10 minutes. Does anyone have any last closing thoughts?
Can I ask what got you to start a thing?
Yeah, so Startup Vegas, we turned 4 in March.
Wow.
And I'm really excited about it. And I was working for Al Gore, and I wanted to join a startup, and I was living in DC. It was pandemic time, and I was like, I was thinking about a startup, coming back here, and then when I joined, I was like, man, there's literally no community here. Like, there's not a place for me, because I just straight up told I know I'd started 2 businesses, never like one that was going to be VC based. And so I was like, I need help. I've never been the COO of a company that never existed before. I just, and my 2 co-founders, this is like their 3rd time around. They're like, you'll be fine. And I'm like, no, I'm being honest. I want help. And they're like, well, we'll send you to the Bay Area. You can go to Austin. And I was like, there's 2.4 million people here. That's unacceptable. And so one of my co-founders and I actually started with the idea of holding a pitch competition. And then we realized that, like, who were we to have a pitch competition, because like nobody knew who we were. So we're like, well, let's start a community. Let's just get people. At the time, it was just when the vaccine had come out, and like people were starting to mingle, and we were, think like June of 21, right? Like we were just starting to come back, and so we started that in June with a link up, the co-working day. And we had like 60 people because they wanted to get out of their house, and it was so exciting. And we had the 3rd floor of WeWork, and it was just really awesome. And we're like, okay, like 50% more people showed up than RSVP. People want this. Like, you always have attrition, right? So we're like, oh man, like 30 people RSVP, you're gonna have like 6 people, like, oh my God, what are we gonna, and then when we had all these people show up, I was like, all right, we just need to do this. And then we actually drew out on a timeline the pain points in scaling a business, and we created programming around each of them to try and help. The idea was that a founder would be able to find us and kind of go through their journey, and there would be like peer-to-peer mentoring, there would be pitch opportunities. So like our level up, it is not meant for money, it is meant for practice. It is meant for you, the community, to see what kind of growth and companies are starting here. And then also you, the founder, to just practice in front of real investors, but in a non-stakes, high-stakes setting. And so that you can practice your pitch outside of your bathroom. I'm sure your parents and your family tell you you're amazing. But the truth is, you could probably use some stage time. And so that was the whole premise behind Startup Vegas, was just to try and get the community together. This is my hometown. I moved away for 13 years and decided to come home, and I really feel like there is something very special, and Vegas at its core is very innovative. And so how do we celebrate that? And I think the best way to do that is bringing smart, driven, hungry people together and, having them meet each other. And I can already tell you, I know of 3 companies that have started by founders meeting each other at our events. And one is a unicorn now. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's really exciting. So I love that because I think there is something really special when you can meet cool people. And even if you don't work together, just knowing that you're all driven towards the same goals. Like, I want to be financially sound. I want to empower other people I want to get excited about what I do. And I think meeting other people that are in that same headspace, I just think it's cool to have friends that will support you on your entrepreneurial journey. So
That's awesome.
How often do you hold events? This is the first one I was able to attend.
yeah, I would say we have probably 2 a month. We have at least the last Wednesday of every month is the meetup day. And then every other month will be that level up that I was talking about, the big pitch competition. It's not a competition, it's a big pitch fest. And we invite 3 local startups to pitch, and then we have 3 to 4 investors on stage. It's a pizza party, it's a kickback, right? It's pizza, it's beer, it's seltzers, we just want people to feel. So that happens every other month. And then in the opposite month of that, we'll have RiseUp, we'll have a Sync Up, everything is up, which I know can be very confusing, and sometimes I have to go through them myself. Which one was that? And then we used to have a book club, we called it Read Up. I know you probably would have guessed that. And it was honestly amazing because I really enjoyed it because, for instance, like this Ben Horowitz book, I would love to sit in a circle like this and talk about it because I got so much out of it. But I'll read something and you'll read something. We'll read the same thing, but we'll get something just slightly different.
Sounds like you need a Discord, sir.
Oh, God, no,
Don't get too excited.
Don't put that kind of hate on me, But I really just enjoy this community, and I enjoy that we all love living here, and we want to make this place really special, because I do think that Las Vegas is the best city in the world, and I just think it's because of the people and the culture and the can-do attitude. And I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm also an elected official, and in that space, I have been able to make some real change. And it's not because my predecessors didn't do it, it's because I just ask better questions and I hustle harder, because there's people who want to make that difference and they just needed people to do it. And so I feel like it's the same for this community. You guys are all out there killing it. You want to grow your businesses, you want to be investors, you want to, start things, and that takes a lot of courage. And I think we need to celebrate that courage and that excitement. And so we can do that here.
I love that. Are you guys just tech-based mainly, or is it?
Yeah, yes and no. The original concept was going to be tech startups, going for VC. I think that it has expanded because you might not be going for VC, but you're going to work with other entrepreneurs who will. And so we want to be as inclusive and not have any limitations or filters to that. The ones invited to the level up stage are, because we have investors on the stage, and if your company will be going for VC money, this is what it'll look like. And so
I was just curious.
Yeah. At Linked Up, we kind of have a mixture of everything. Last Linked Up, we had someone that ran a business. He basically had a bunch of different equipment. It was like a margarita machine. So that was really cool. So Zappos will rent him out. He did have a story actually with Zappos. They would do a margarita machine, and he would have multiple coming out from warehouses. There's another person that's starting a business about tech. There's another person talking about their own financial welfare, and then talking about it was EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, so she talked about that. That was
Was
a
that
speaker. Yeah, it was Cheryl.
Yeah.
So Cheryl talked about that last link up, and then other people were bringing in about their social media. We have a content writer today. We have so many different people, like you're from law and you have a law background, but you're also in real estate. So it's kind of a little mixture of everything. Link up is usually where we have that mixture for sure. And it's really nice seeing all the different backgrounds. There are so many people that are from Bay Area. There's people coming in from Seattle. Level Up will have a vast amount of people. Like during January, we had people coming in from China for CES. We had people coming in from France. It was really cool hearing the different languages and hearing the different people that are entrepreneurs. So it's a vast background right now. Mm-hmm.
I'll try to make it tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow will be super fun. We have sandwiches. I'm excited for that.
What about that margarita machine?
I know.
I was like, hey, we'll get back. But I know a couple of you moved from the Bay Area, and we always like to ask, like, actually, RiseUp is because somebody moved from the Bay Area and they said, we really want like a women-focused event, obviously open to everyone. And this was born because of that. Our book club, the same thing. Is there something that you think would be helpful for this ecosystem that you've seen that we could maybe fold in and learn from?
I mean, I think really it's just the difference in the Bay Area is just that tech, it is everywhere. I mean, you're not working in the Bay Area without it touching on everything. And so I like the more it's easy to find the events and the more the information is public. I mean, I had to do some searching. I, kind of dug through Meetup, but Meetup also has every single kind of thing in there. So I think, more social media where it's easier to find. And I think one of the things that kind of surprises me about Vegas is, especially during COVID, so many tech companies left the Bay Area, but it was really like Austin, Miami, and Nashville. But Vegas is also a really business-friendly state. So I'm always like, okay, I know it seems like Vegas is really trying to brand itself as like entertainment, but there's so much room to like draw tech out here. In these other cities, I think the city government really pushed for that branding more. But in the Bay Area, it's just everywhere, and it's just so easy to find. It's not necessarily what the events are. I think it's just how easy it is to stumble into everything. Also, it's just different with the city. Leave your or before COVID, you left your office and you could just walk right into something. But I just think the more it's like everywhere where you see what the events are, the easier it is. Like, because I moved out here, my work is in the Bay Area, and most of my work is in tech. But I home, I wasn't like stumbling into it. Like I live in downtown Summerlin, but I never really saw, necessarily like, oh, there's this event, oh, there's this. So I think that would make it just make it easier to find really, but.
And I think to your point, I think the Bay Area, tech is who they are, not what they do.
Yeah.
And here, who we are is Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah.
And we're trying to, and this is a 3-decade-long fight here in Southern Nevada, trying to diversify our economy.
Yeah.
And like what you were saying echoes so loudly, and like we are super trying, but it is hard when you have LVCVA, which is the Convention Visitor Bureau, spending millions of dollars every year. What happens in Vegas? Well, what happens here, right? But we also can't diminish the fact that we have 56 million tourists that come through Harry Reid International. Well, we're drives in, but in Las Vegas. And that's why we are a no tax state. And like, so I work in economic development. Like this is the crux of what I am trying to solve for, but it is super hard when I'm not gonna get government to, and I've also studied the other areas.
Yeah.
You said Austin. Austin had IBM who grew, and then they created this rainforest effect. And like, we don't have a big enterprise that called Vegas home. So that's not an option yet. Miami, government,
They
all
just
the money,
invested in
yes,
that,
they were
yeah.
just like, we've got money, here you go.
Yeah.
We just don't have that money.
Yeah.
And then like Boulder is always a good example where exited founders came and created the ecosystem, which then created all of Utah, especially the Salt Lake area. That's from their higher ed system. Their higher ed system invested $30 to $60 million annually in their entrepreneurial programs.
It seems like
We don't have that money.
I'm not, I mean, this is like very out of my realm, but like, I live in Summerlin, and probably like the same goes for Henderson, but it seems like Summerlin is interested in not being Vegas and interested in being, like more, not the tourist industry, like all that stuff. It seems like Summerlin would be more interested in pushing things like that, like bringing tech companies to here and also pitching it as a place for people to move to. Like, this is not what you think of Las Vegas. When my friends come to visit, they're like, oh, this is like nice. And I'm like, did you think I just like lived?
Adorable
Did you think I lived in Circus? Like, what did you think I've been doing?
You're like, when you flew in, all those people live in those houses. This is in North Korea. Like, people actually live there. I know, it's nice.
I'm like, yeah, I live inside the Colorado Circus. It's just like so weird, but it just seems like, like that Henderson and Summerlin might have more of an interest in it. But, in terms of like just more connection for people here, it's like, happy hour, like everywhere where it's like a happy hour and social event and.
I was gonna say that, living in the Bay Area, the reason why you hear it is because you go to a restaurant, you're sitting next to a table, people talking about it. You go to the coffee shop, with all the tech bros talking about it, so that's kind of how you hear things.
And
I just constantly meeting up and seeing.
I was a member of the Wing in San Francisco, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was like, kind of like a co-working space, but for women, but then they had tons of like good events and it was like very tech forward. And I mean, not whole like business blew up, so not like necessarily repeat that, but they had like a lot of evening events and speakers come in and it sounds kind of like what you're doing, but you can bring guests to it and it's just there, and like the battery is really all tech. They do art events and they do other stuff, but really everyone who belongs, you kind of assume is in tech.
Well, if you guys have any suggestions for me as the person who's doing a lot of marketing outside of Vegas, I'm going to start handing out flyers. So that is one thing that I've taken to
Old school?
Old
Like,
school.
Go to this party. Postcard.
Those works.
Yeah, we have a bunch of stickers. Like our stickers, I'll start plastering.
You have them on site here today?
We do not, unfortunately.
Oh.
Maybe next time that you attend. Yeah.
But what about partnering with like other like local businesses? Like I work at home, I have a home office, but I go to True Fusion every day and like True Fusion, I mean, I'm not speaking for True Fusion, I'm just using it as an example, but like they partner, they'll do events with like pop-ups or they sell local brands and stuff like that. It just seems like places where people are going regularly, you could do,
A collaboration.
Yeah.
We definitely will and start intertwining our different communities. But I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. It's currently 1:36, so if you guys need to leave, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Gina, for seeing us here.
I'm gonna do a pickleball. Chicken and pickle.
Oh, that's
And then please grab some more food on your way out. If you guys want plates to bring home to your kids, husbands, wives, do whatever, family, friends, do it. And then Linda and Gina are on our Start of Vegas LinkedIn. So if you guys want to reach out personally, you guys can.
I know.
I actually have a hard foundation of writing today.
That's what I thought. I was like, you look so familiar. Okay.